Welcome to today's Explainer. I'm going to be stepping into the role of your personal, professional writing coach today. We are going to completely transform your everyday vocabulary into a highly polished, professional toolkit. Seriously, if you've ever stared blankly at an important email to your boss, or maybe hesitated right before hitting submit on a formal application because your writing just felt, a little too casual, you are in the exact right place. We're going to break down the actual mechanics of formal language using some really clear side-by-side comparisons so you can easily master these upgrades. Here's the game plan for our study guide today. First, elevating your English expression. Second, formal versus informal dialogues. Third, a vocabulary comparison table. Fourth, a pop quiz to test your skills. And fifth, we'll wrap up with key takeaways and a conclusion.
All right, part 1, elevating your English expression. Let's set the foundation.
So, look, formal English isn't just about sounding fancy or trying to show off. Not at all. It's really about choosing the precise, perfect word for a professional environment. It's about structure, clarity, and honestly, demonstrating respect for your audience, whether that's a hiring manager, a university professor, or a huge corporate client. You can kind of think of it like putting a perfectly tailored suit on your sentences.
Let's move right into Section 2, Formal versus Informal Dialogues. Let's look at some side-by-side comparisons. Okay, picture this. You're walking up to the front desk at a strict government office, or maybe handing over a major quarterly report to your director. Notice how trading the super casual, "can you check my papers," for the much more authoritative, "could you verify my documents," literally instantly elevates your professional presence. The word verify implies a thorough, official review, right? Whereas check just sounds like a super quick glance.
Oh man, we use this one literally every single day. Listen for the metaphorical, correct chime in your head when you upgrade the everyday, catch-all verb get to the formal standard receive. Get is such a workhorse word in casual English, isn't it? We get coffee, we get tired, we get emails. But in a business context, confirming you received a correspondence, it just sounds infinitely more refined and deliberate.
Now, what's really cool about this transition is the double upgrade we're executing here. We aren't just changing the verb, we're elevating the noun too. Think about becomes consider, which carries this heavy weight of careful intellectual evaluation, and the casual idea, which, let's face it, could be anything from where to eat lunch to $1 million project, transforms into a structured, professional proposal.
As your writing coach, I am begging you to drop tell in your workplace correspondence. I will tell you later kind of sounds a bit like schoolyard gossip, or maybe just a casual chat between friends. Adopt inform to sound much more decisive and professional. I will inform you later confidently assures your colleague or client that an official update is going to be provided in due course. This one brilliantly illustrates how simply swapping free for release instantly provides a more formal, academic tone to your sentence structure. Look, while free is a wonderful, highly emotive word, release is the exact, precise terminology used in scientific, legal, and official contexts. It implies a structured, deliberate action rather than just randomly opening a cage. Imagine you're at a high-stakes networking event or a fancy industry conference. Never just ask someone about their job. It honestly sounds a bit blunt and transactional. Always inquire about their profession or occupation. It shows a ton of respect for their career path, and it actively invites a much more thoughtful, engaged conversation. Okay, switching can keep to may retain is a classic writing coach trick that immediately signals respect and formal permission. Keep is super conversational, but retain, that is the language of contracts, libraries, and official agreements. Plus, swapping can for may officially grants permission, totally polishing the sentence to a high shine.
While where do you live is perfectly fine for casual chats at a dinner party, where do you reside is the exact vocabulary you need for official forms, legal documents, and highly formal introductions. Reside carries this sort of legal weight and permanence that the word live simply doesn't convey on its own. If you are hitting the job market right now, listen up, because this specific phrasing is absolutely vital. If you want to impress a hiring manager right out of the gate, definitely avoid the informal looking for a job. It sounds a little passive. Instead, confidently state that you are seeking employment. Boom! It transforms you from a passive looker into an active, professional candidate ready to contribute.
And for our final scene, observe how replacing mainly about with principally regarding dramatically refines the entire sentence. Mainly is a very casual adverb, but principally sounds academic and incredibly exact. Pair that with switching about to regarding, and honestly, you've got a sentence worthy of a university dissertation or a fancy executive summary.
All right, Section 3, our vocabulary comparison table. time to synthesize the data.
This right here is your ultimate cheat sheet. You can clearly see our 10 weak informal verbs and phrases contrasted directly with their strong formal equivalents. Notice the general trend we've got going here. Formal English tends to favor single, precise words of Latin or French origin, like receive, consider, and reside, over the multi-word phrasal verbs that are super common in everyday Anglo-Saxon English, like think about or look for. This is a fantastic reference to lock into your memory for the next time you're drafting an important document.
Section 4. Pop quiz time. Let's do a little active recall exercise to test your skills. Okay, scenario 1, you are pitching something huge to your team, and you really need to sound authoritative but still polite. Do you ask a colleague to think about your idea or what goes in the blank? Lock in your answer. If you remembered the formal upgrade consider, you are absolutely correct. You ask them to consider your proposal.
Next up, you're sitting across from a recruiter. They ask about your current situation. You aren't just looking for a job. What are you doing? If you said you are seeking employment, give yourself a massive high five. Excellent job.
Final question to wrap up our quiz. You're filling out a government form or maybe a mortgage application. The phrasing won't be as simple as where you live. What's the formal term? Yep, that's right. They want to know where you reside, proving you have truly mastered this vocabulary transition.
And that brings us to Section 5, key takeaways and conclusion to officially wrap up our study guide.
So, what's the big picture here? The core lesson is that minor, highly intentional shifts in your word choice can fundamentally transform how your professional communication is received. Seriously, upgrading just one single verb changes the whole tone of a sentence. Remember, it's all about context, right? You obviously don't need to speak formally to your friends at a coffee shop, but you absolutely must match your vocabulary to your audience in official environments. By replacing those casual phrases with precise terminology, you project total competence and authority. And like any muscle, consistent practice makes this transition feel completely natural over time.
I really want to challenge you this week. The very next time you sit down to write an email at work or at school, pause. Literally, take a breath. Don't just hit send. Look for the gets, the checks, and the tells hiding in your draft and actively upgrade them. So, my final question to you is this. Moving forward, how will you consciously verify, consider, and principally apply these elevated expressions in your very next professional email?